When undertaking electrical work, especially in a new home build, it is crucial to understand the applicable electrical codes. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, serves as a foundational standard, but individual states and local jurisdictions often adopt and amend it to suit their specific needs and priorities. In Minnesota, several resources can help you navigate the differences between the NEC and the state electrical code. The Minnesota Department of Labor and Industry, or DOLE, provides information on electrical code requirements. They offer online resources related to business codes and laws that are specific to electrical installations. The Minnesota Department of Commerce, Division of Electrical Inspections, is another primary source. They maintain and publish electrical laws and rules for the state. This is vital to ensure that your electrical work adheres to the legal requirements enforced in Minnesota. It is also important to consult your local city or county building department. These departments often have specific code requirements that are applicable to your area in Minnesota, going beyond the general state regulations. The International Code Council, or IC, is an additional resource to consider. They provide Minnesota State Code supplements for the International Building Code, International Residential Code, and International Fire Code. These supplements can offer valuable insights into how the international codes are adapted and enforced to Minnesota. The Minnesota Electrical Contractors Association, or MECA, may also provide access to resources or guidance on code differences. They serve as a professional organization for electrical contractors and might offer insights into the specific requirements and interpretations of the electrical code in Minnesota. Consulting with a licensed electrician in Minnesota is highly recommended. A qualified electrician will be familiar with both the NEC and Minnesota code requirements and can provide expert guidance on ensuring compliance. When researching and referencing code documents, verify that you are using the most recent version. Codes are subject to updates and amendments, so using outdated information can lead to errors and non-compliance. To elaborate further on the process of identifying and understanding the code differences, consider the following steps. Firstly, obtain the latest version of the NEC. This serves as your baseline understanding of standard electrical practices. Secondly, access the Minnesota State Electrical Code through the Department of Labor and Industry or the Department of Commerce. Review this document carefully, noting any deviations from the NEC. Thirdly, contact your local building department to inquire about any local amendments or interpretations of the state code. These amendments can be significant and vary from one jurisdiction to another. Fourthly, compare the NEC, the Minnesota State Code, and any local amendments side by side. Create a detailed list of the differences, paying close attention to sections related to wiring methods, overcurrent protection, grounding, and equipment installation. Fifthly, consult with a licensed electrician or electrical inspector to clarify any ambiguities or uncertainties. Their expertise can help you interpret the code correctly and ensure that your electrical work complies with all applicable requirements. To illustrate the types of differences you might encounter, consider the following examples. Minnesota may have specific requirements for the type of wiring methods allowed in residential buildings. For example, it might restrict the use of certain types of cable or require the use of conduit in specific locations. Minnesota may also have different requirements for the sizing of overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers and fuses. These requirements may be based on local climate conditions or other factors. Grounding and bonding requirements can also vary between the NEC and the Minnesota State Code. Pay close attention to the requirements for grounding electrodes, bonding of metal enclosures, and the use of ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs. Equipment installation requirements, such as those for lighting fixtures, appliances, and electrical panels, may also differ. Ensure that you understand the specific requirements for each type of equipment you install. The Minnesota Electrical Code may also include additional requirements for energy efficiency or renewable energy systems. If you are planning to install solar panels, wind turbines, or other renewable energy systems, be sure to familiarize yourself with these requirements. Another area where differences may exist is in the requirements for electrical inspections. Minnesota may have specific procedures for scheduling inspections, the types of inspections required, and the qualifications of electrical inspectors. To effectively navigate these code differences, consider creating a checklist of all the electrical work you plan to perform. For each item on the checklist, research the applicable requirements in the NEC, the Minnesota State Code, and any local amendments. Document your findings and use this information to guide your work. It is also a good idea to take photographs or videos of your electrical work as you progress. This can help you demonstrate compliance with the code to electrical inspectors. If you are unsure about any aspect of the electrical code, do not hesitate to ask for help. Contact your local building department, a licensed electrician, or an electrical inspector for clarification. It is always better to be safe than sorry when it comes to electrical work. Remember that electrical work can be dangerous, and it is important to take all necessary precautions to protect yourself and others. Always to energize circuits before working on them, use appropriate personal protective equipment, and follow safe work practices. By understanding the code differences between the NEC and the Minnesota Electrical Code, you can ensure that your electrical work is safe, compliant, and reliable. This will help you protect your home, your family, and your community. Lastly, remember that code compliance is an ongoing process. As technology evolves and new safety concerns emerge, electrical codes are constantly being updated. Stay informed about the latest changes and adapt your practices accordingly. By staying up to date on the latest code requirements, you can ensure that your electrical work remains safe and compliant for years to come. For example, Minnesota amendments may exist related to arc fault circuit interrupters, or of size depending on the building's construction. The NEC may require size in certain locations, but Minnesota might expand or modify these requirements based on local experience or building practices. Another critical area is wiring in agricultural buildings. Minnesota's agricultural sector is significant, and the state might have specific rules for wiring barns, sheds, and other farm structures. These rules often address the unique hazards present in agricultural environments such as dust, moisture, and corrosive substances. The state may also have its own regulations for electrical work related to swimming pools, spas, and hot tubs. These regulations are designed to prevent electrical shock hazards and ensure the safety of swimmers. For example, Minnesota might require additional bonding of metal components or the use of specific types of ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, in these areas. The state also has cold weather considerations. Minnesota's harsh winters can impact electrical installations. The state's code might include requirements for protecting wiring and equipment from freezing temperatures, snow, and ice. This could involve using special types of insulation, enclosures, or heating systems. The Minnesota Electrical Code could address emergency and standby power systems differently than the NEC. Given the potential for severe weather events and power outages in the state, Minnesota might have specific requirements for backup generators, uninterruptible power supplies, or other emergency power sources in critical facilities. Regarding renewable energy systems, as mentioned earlier, Minnesota has been a leader in promoting renewable energy. The state's electrical code might include specific requirements for the installation and interconnection of solar photovoltaic systems, wind turbines, and other renewable energy sources. These requirements could address issues such as grid stability, safety, and performance. Minnesota may have specific rules for electrical work in healthcare facilities, such as hospitals, clinics, and nursing homes. These rules are designed to ensure the safety and reliability of electrical systems that support critical medical equipment and patient care. The state may also have its own requirements for electrical work in hazardous locations, such as factories, chemical plants, and refineries. These locations present unique electrical hazards such as explosive gases, dust, or fibers. The state's code might specify the types of equipment and wiring methods that are permitted in these areas. The Minnesota Electrical Code could include rules for electrical work in recreational vehicle parks and campgrounds. These areas often have unique electrical distribution systems and require special attention to safety. The state may also have its own requirements for electrical work in temporary structures such as fairs, festivals, and construction sites. These structures often have temporary wiring and equipment that require careful planning and installation. Minnesota may regulate the licensing and training of electricians more stringently than the NEC. The state might have specific requirements for the number of hours of training, the types of experience required, and the continuing education that electricians must complete. Finally, remember that the Minnesota Electrical Code is a dynamic document. It is constantly being updated to reflect new technologies, safety concerns, and best practices. Therefore, it is essential to stay informed about the latest changes and adapt your practices accordingly. The best way to do this is to subscribe to updates from the Minnesota Department of Labor and Industry and the Department of Commerce, attend continuing education courses, and consult with licensed electricians and electrical inspectors. By following these steps, you can ensure that your electrical work is safe, compliant, and reliable, protecting your home, your family, and your community. Furthermore, understanding the inspection process within Minnesota is critical. After completing your electrical work, an inspection is required to ensure compliance with the code. The process typically involves contacting your local building department to schedule an inspection. The inspector will review your work against the applicable codes, looking for any violations or potential safety hazards. If violations are found, you will be required to correct them and schedule a re-inspection. It's advisable to be present during the inspection to address any questions or concerns the inspector may have. Having a copy of your plans and permits readily available can expedite the inspection process. Maintaining open communication with the inspector and promptly addressing any issues they identify is essential for smooth and successful inspection. Some jurisdictions within Minnesota may have adopted specific energy efficiency requirements that impact electrical installations. These requirements may relate to lighting controls, motor efficiency, or other energy-saving measures. Understanding these requirements and incorporating them into your electrical design and installation is important for complying with the code and reducing your energy consumption. Also, the Minnesota Electrical Code could address the growing integration of smart home technology. With the increasing popularity of smart thermostats, lighting systems, and appliances, the code might include requirements for the safe and reliable installation of these devices. These requirements could address issues such as network security, data privacy, and interoperability with other electrical systems. It's also worth noting that the Minnesota Electrical Code may incorporate specific provisions related to the installation of electric vehicle charging stations. With the increasing adoption of electric vehicles, the code might include requirements for the proper wiring, grounding, and protection of charging stations in residential, commercial, and public settings. These requirements are designed to ensure the safe and reliable charging of electric vehicles. In addition to the resources already mentioned, consider joining or participating in relevant industry organizations or associations. These organizations often provide educational resources, training programs, and networking opportunities that can help you stay informed about the latest code changes and best practices. They can also serve as a valuable resource for resolving technical questions or challenges you may encounter during your electrical work. Remember, electrical codes are designed to protect people and property from electrical hazards. By understanding and complying with the NEC and the Minnesota Electrical Code, you can contribute to a safer electrical environment for yourself, your family, and your community.